Does that look like an obvious bump there? Should I?
We are rolling,
Should be.
so it's up to you girls when you want to start.
Great.
The obvious bump that is here in your tummy.
Yes.
Yay.
We have a little baby boy that's joined us
Yay.
today.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we're back. We're back, Dina Foy McMaster and Sonya Pauly.
Hi.
Part two. Yeah, part two of her journey. And we had such a great time exploring the stories and the feelings and the emotions of what we did in our last interview that we kind of leaned into doing a second one, and now we are. Hey.
Here we are, yeah.
So again, congratulations on
Thank you.
being pregnant.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm actually feeling great in the way of endometriosis and the symptoms that I experienced. I feel like it's a healthy, wonderful pregnancy, and I'm really blessed there that I haven't had, the symptoms that I felt previously to falling pregnant. So
to falling pregnant this time, or last time with Eli?
Even last time with Eli, I felt like I had two really healthy pregnancies, apart from the sickness, obviously. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so since we have started talking about your congratulatory baby, which is very exciting when you battled the infertility that you battled, is this pregnancy much different than last time?
I feel like it's very similar in that I haven't experienced the symptoms, the endometriosis symptoms, which is such a blessing. But I feel like that obviously the nauseousness and the sickness is there, which is all good signs for a healthy baby. But I can't say much in the way of, I feel like, in a way, I feel like for me, it's cured it. And, I know that's different for, I can't say the same for all women out there. A lot of women experience pain like yourself through pregnancy. And, for me though, it's been such a blessing to, go through this and have no pain.
And that's pretty exciting for somebody who battled what you battled.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have the confidence to say that you feel like you're endo-free?
I actually do. I feel like I would answer that differently now compared to prior to, pregnancies, obviously. But now, yes, I feel like because this second time around, I fell pregnant instantly. It wasn't the 4-year journey that I had with Eli, our firstborn. So I feel like it has, and that is one of the things that my specialist told me. You may have this for life when I was diagnosed with it. So there was always that sort of, lingering over your head. And at the same time, he said falling pregnant, having babies can also help, keep it from growing back. So I'm hoping that's the situation, for us and for me. So
that's great. That's great. That's such a success story.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do want to be an encouragement to the women that are battling endometriosis, because there's so many that are battling endometriosis, and there's so many that we come across on a regular basis. And at the same token, there's so many women who've never heard the term. But since we've done this, we've had a large amount of views on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And definitely. I don't know if we had an expectation.
No, I had no idea how it was, all going to play out.
And you had a lot of people get in touch with you after you shared the story. Yeah,
well, I was very blown away. Like my sisters shared the posts, and obviously I shared the post. But I had a lot of women, like even just private message me, and then my sister also had women contact her saying, like, I love this interview. It was so good just to watch someone else's story, and I have it too. I've just had my first surgery. It's been encouraging for me. So it was really good to get that good feedback and hear from other girls, and even just talk about some of the symptoms. Like I've had a couple of girls just say, oh, I experienced this, did you experience that? And sort of you realize that your journeys are just so different, and so it was really good to have those conversations with the girls.
Kind of like pregnancy journey is different every time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So now that you've had such a positive experience with falling pregnant this time, do you feel like the help that you sought with doctors as well as naturopaths or nutritionists or that kind of thing was really important for you to have a healthy pregnancy this time, as well as keep that those symptomatic inflammation things away and that kind of stuff.
Definitely. So obviously I went to GPs, had all the tests done, saw fertility specialists, and also I went to my naturopath, and she gave me amazing advice. She did up a full-on schedule for me, and put me on like herbal medication and just like natural medicines that I could take just to help with everything from the inflammation to even just telling me foods that I should be eating that will sort of steer clear of causing that inflammation in your gut. And I feel like that all gave me, and helping with hormones too, I felt like all of that just really gave me such a healthy pregnancy and set me up for a really good pregnancy, which is great.
Yeah, well, we have to be so careful with estrogen, don't we?
Definitely.
Because and the inflammation that we carry naturally as females is so much enhanced when it comes to having a menstrual cycle. And so do you recall any of the specific vegetables or things that you were needing to avoid?
It was mainly just, and I should have touched on that when I mentioned about the foods. It was mainly like gluten, wheat and that sort of thing, and also dairy was a big thing. So I sort of, I guess, just didn't fully remove it all from my diet, but I just was very particular with what I ate and was just careful. I just really limited it in my diet. So
and that made a big difference for me. And in one of the other ladies that I've interviewed at this moment, it makes a big difference for her regularly as well. My main thing was nightshade vegetables. And if you Google nightshade vegetables, you will find the ones that actually are classified as inflammatory. And here I was living a vegan lifestyle and eating a ton of vegetables every day and having so much gut pain and so much inflammation, and looking at like my salad in the afternoons thinking, this is so healthy, why is it making me feel so sick? But half of my vegetables were nightshade vegetables. And that was just building inflammation in my gut and bloating. And I remember last time you spoke about a lot of bloating.
I did get a lot of bloating. I felt 4 months pregnant, through the whole journey, obviously prior to falling pregnant. And I think, I probably would say that did help with the bloatedness. But it was a combination of everything that my naturopath had me on that I believe just really helped. So.
And sugar too. Sugar we have to be careful from.
Definitely.
The natural sugars seem to be not as bad, but still.
Exactly.
And so if you were recommending advice to somebody that felt like they relate to your story, or they're dealing with just strange periods or strange feelings and symptoms, what would you tell them to do?
I would say definitely in relation to if you're on a fertility journey like we were, I would definitely suggest going straight to your GP, seek professional advice, go to a fertility specialist. It's so worth investing the money into that. It's your body, and it's your it's getting your womb ready for a baby, and that's just so important. So I would say definitely seek professional advice and talk to people. That was a big thing, because for me, I know we just had this conversation just before, your daughter Faithy is so blessed that she's had you that's been through it, so she's been able to talk to you about it. And for me, I feel like there was no one in my family who had it, not that we were aware of, who I could talk to. So I think the biggest thing is just it's good that there's more awareness out there and there's more women talking about it, and I think that just helps you on the journey, being able to talk with other girls about it.
Because it is quite a mental journey, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
When you go to the doctor regularly and you say there's something wrong with me and I don't know what's wrong with me, and they look at you and say, well, you look good, or your friends are like, you're fine, why are you cancelling things? That exterior appearance of we look fine, and maybe you can show them bloating, or maybe you can show them inflammation, or I remember one time Sonya and I used to work in the same place, and I remember one time where I was at work and I was having a coffee with some of the ladies, and one of the ladies was sitting across from me at our morning tea break, and I was kind of going like this to have a drink of my coffee, and I just remember so vividly being like, you know, doing that kind of
pain. Yeah.
And she just looked at me and she said, Dina, that's not normal. And I kind of just took my time to catch my breath. It was one of those stabbing, guttural, I feel like I'm going to faint pains.
Yeah.
But she witnessed it, and there was 2 ladies sitting on the couch over here, and they witnessed it as well, but they weren't looking at me when it happens. And this friend of mine just kept staring at me, and she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I just had to catch my breath. And then I remember I eventually just sat back down and went, I'm okay. It's just part of what I'm dealing with, and I still don't know what I'm dealing with.
Wow.
And it brought on this conversation.
Definitely.
You know?
And even when you mentioned, Dina, like before about, you know, the mental health, how huge it is on our mental health. I don't even know if I touched on it much in the previous interview, but it definitely played a huge part. Like to be completely vulnerable and honest here, I definitely feel like I was walking through some of my darkest days, and I definitely had moments of feeling depressed and a lot of anxiety around it. Anxiety around, am I ever going to be a mother? Am I ever going to have a baby? All of my friends are having children. I'm so much older. When am I going to, you know, be a mummy? And just how much it affects your relationships and the people around you. And I did touch on it, saying I didn't open up fully about those things with family and friends like I should have, when I was, you know, pain during sex and, you know, terrible pain during period. I never really opened up about it fully when I should have. And I feel that all played a huge part on my mental health for sure. Yeah.
I think it is so important to talk. But sometimes we talk and we feel misunderstood, and that can almost make it worse. And I reflect on some of what I went through, and I just think about times where I really thought I had it together.
Yeah.
And then I'd look back and I'm like, wow, I had like made a big mistake there in something I was doing, but didn't even know, because I was living in such a place of brain fog. And I'd gotten so used to it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where the danger comes in sometimes, is we get used to living a certain way that's not right.
No.
And we don't realize that we're operating at such a low capacity. I remember when I saw one of the nutritionists, and my husband actually came with me to this appointment because I wanted him to hear her words and help him get an understanding of what I was really going through.
Yeah.
And she said to my husband, your wife is waking up in the morning at a really low reserve tank. Her reserve tank is already empty. It's been depleted for so long because of how long it took her to get diagnosed, that all she has to do is walk around the house for the day, do basic living, and she'll be wrecked by the end of the day. We've got to give her time to build her reserve tank back up again and get the support in her system working properly again. And that's what it felt like. It felt like my reserve tank was empty when I woke up, and it was never even,
when you went back to bed.
Never even started to get filled up when I went back to bed. Were you the same?
I can relate in some ways, definitely. It was probably empty when I woke up in the mornings, but it was more of a mental state for me. I had to daily give it over to God, because it was just something that I just didn't know how else to deal with it. And I guess it was my husband that I really relied on the most, and was like, because he was the one who knew everything. He was the one who saw everything. He saw the pain, he saw the tears. The poor thing, I was probably leaning on him a bit too much. But just purely because I didn't really talk about it, like we were saying.
It's incredible to talk about mental health when it takes so long to even get a diagnosis of endo. But I think a lot of women are quite in tune with their bodies and their thoughts, especially because we change monthly.
Yes, definitely.
and if we don't admit that we change, I think we're quite ignorant in the fact that, that we change. But some women don't have any issues. Some women just breeze through. And that sometimes makes me wonder if endometriosis isn't actually a much bigger problem than people realize. Which kind of leads into the next question, is whether or not we feel that it's hereditary.
That's something I'm very interested in, and would love to know, because I'm not sure, to be honest. I can't fully answer that, but I do know that my nana, I started asking the questions once I did the research and found out what I was diagnosed with. I found out that my nana, she tried for babies for about 6 or 7 years, so her journey was huge. And obviously they didn't have the things, you know, that they have today in the way of, you know, I don't know, technology and the research and the knowledge on it. So she was trying for 6-7 years, and then all of a sudden she had 6 children. Bam, 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 one after the other. And have no idea. No one knows what it was, what caused it. So my mum and my pa and even myself, we do wonder whether maybe she did have endometriosis, and maybe it could have been passed down. We just don't know. But that's definitely something that I'm very interested in and curious to know. Yeah.
So is there any form of a little bit of fear in your future when it comes to endo, or whether or not you have another pregnancy and have a baby
now,
girl?
Or, definitely. I obviously I said earlier that we're having another baby boy, which I'm so excited about. I think the thing that I'm probably most fearful of is if we go for number 3 and, you know, it is a little girl, that I do pass that on to her. That is genuinely a fear that I have. But in saying that, just don't know if it's hereditary. And we
don't want to live in fear, do we?
No, we don't.
It's not something that guides us or leads us in a good way.
Yes, that's right.
But to be aware of it. And, you know, we haven't had debilitating stories with endometriosis where it has caused cancer or anything like that, like some ladies have. And I mean, a friend that I've got has had 9 surgeries, and you know, it's just crazy. And somehow she fought through to have a few children, and she has her own incredible journey. But just, you know, we feel very blessed, don't we, that that it hasn't been worse. We've
been able to have children, healthy children, and
and so we would say, go to your GP, check your local health food store.
Yes.
Don't Google too much.
Don't Google. No, dangerous. Don't Google. Don't ask Siri. And talk. Definitely talk to people.
And pay attention to you. Journal, you know. See if what you're feeling from one month to the next is the same, because I know that there are some people who, you know, as soon as yesterday's over with, tomorrow is about to begin. You know, they forget it and they move on. And sometimes we need to track our symptoms.
Definitely.
And so, we just want to encourage women to seek advice.
Totally. And the positive too through it all, I guess, is I feel like I'm so much more in tune with my body now. I just, I know all of the, you know, when I'm ovulating, and, you know, you just, when I'm going to have my period, and you're just so much more in tune with, your body. So it's a good thing.
So hope that you enjoyed today, and we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing more interviews. We're so excited that women are coming alongside us and partnering with us, and recognizing that the movement of sharing our story is making a difference. And so we just want to help you out, and we also would like to say, if you want to be interviewed, then get in touch on our YouTube channel. Follow our YouTube channel, share it. This is just about awareness. We're not making any money from this. This is just our heart to share with you. So have a great afternoon.